going over NXT TakeOver 31. No longer in the Performance Center. We are at the Capitol Arena, the Capitol Dome, like if you will. They had a nice little video package of the arena before the show even started, going through the history of everything, which I thought was pretty cool. I also heard that they were inviting like friends and family of wrestlers to sit in the audience, during the match because they're slowly starting to bring people back to the buildings. So I believe like everybody who was in the crowd were friends and family. But they did a cool thing where, because usually for NXT they have people behind the plexiglass banging on the plexiglass, but this time they had people in the stands, but they also had the television screens for people watching live via Zoom. So it was kind of like, because like I said, there was NXT that had the people live behind the plexiglass, and then we got the Thunderdome that had the people, live from home, from their couches on television. This fused them both, so that's why I called it the Capitol Dome, the NXT Capitol Dome, because it had both television screen people and also had live people as well. It was visually appealing, so that's never a bad thing. So let's get right into it. No pre-show match as always. Let's kick it off for the first match for NXT TakeOver 31. So the first match of the night was the North American Championship match to open the show. Yanni Gargano, the Gargano way in full effect, versus Damian Priest, Falcon Arrow, Broken Arrow. And this was it was a good match. Like, it's weird because like throughout their entire feud there's been a lot of like cheating, shenanigans, tomfoolery, backstage antics, jumping from behind, this, that, and the third. And then, with all this like, personal stuff that's been going on, the two of them actually just had a good wrestling match. There was a moment where Priest tried to do a dive over the top rope, and Johnny had pulled the cameraman into the way, and he went crashing and fell on the cameraman. And with the new arena, they even where they usually have the plexiglass, they actually put like a fence up in front of the plexiglass, and Priest went through the fence a couple of times, which he had to, because due to the size difference between him and Johnny, you had to be able to buy that Johnny could get an advantage, which is why Johnny did things like using the ropes, using like the plexiglass, using the fence, using the stairs, pulling people in the way. Like, he had to kind of like get every advantage that he could. But in the end, Priest was up against the ropes, and then Johnny went for his last shot DDT. Priest caught him, he held on, didn't go down, and instead hit him with that corkscrew DDT, hit him with the 1-2-3, and Damian Priest, thank goodness, has retained the North American Championship, and I pray to Christ he does not get called up to Raw or SmackDown during the draft, because the man just had the belt, and I like to see him get a run with the belt and eventually get an NXT Heavyweight Championship run before he gets called up to the main roster. But we'll see what happens now, because now the prophecy of Johnny and Candice being the first championship couple is out the window, which says to me that Candice obviously isn't going to win either. So, but kudos to Damian Priest and Johnny, good match, and we're moving right on. The next match was singles competition, no title involved, one-on-one match between Kushida and the Velveteen Dream. And I love Velveteen Dream. I don't care what nobody say. I don't care about his personal issues, his legal drama, his whatever the case may be, but this dude is money, the dude is box office, and he's a showman and an entertainer. Like, because Kushida does the Marty McFly gimmick where he comes out dressed like Marty McFly, your man came out dressed like Doc Brown. And when I first saw him come out, and he had like the white pants and the gloves, I thought he was kind of like doing like a quarantine thing where he was trying to. I thought he was going to come out with his face covered, talking to, with the gloves on and everything, talking about how he doesn't want to catch COVID because now that we're in the Capitol Dome, there are actually people, who are in the audience aside from the screens. But then when I saw the white hair, I was like, oh snap, he's like Doc Brown so it's like Doc Brown versus Marty McFly. After Velveteen Dream got into the ring, Kushida cheated and jumped him from behind. That's not very face-like. It's a total heel move, but that's what happened. Good match for the two of them. Velveteen Dream hit a Purple Rainmaker, didn't get the W. I mean, he didn't get the W there. But towards the end, he went for another one, and then Kushida countered it into that chicken wing lock, and then Dream actually ended up getting up, and he got Kushida on his shoulders, hit him with a Dream Valley Driver. But when he hit him with the Dream Valley Driver, Kushida didn't let go of the hold. And once he didn't let go of the hold, Dream had no choice but to tap. And I understand that because they kept telling us over and over and over and over and over again that this was Kushida's first one-on-one match at a TakeOver, and he's never wrestled a TakeOver before. And as soon as they said that, I was like, well, he's obviously going to win now. And plus because of the heat that's been on Velveteen Dream personally, they just like let him lose, like that'll make people feel better, and then eventually eventually like the smoke will clear and then we can move on. But like I said, Velveteen Dream comes through in the clutch as always for TakeOver, doing the damn thing. Good match for Kushida, and we'll see what Kushida does going forward and how they'll capitalize on this. Although after the match was over, Kushida jumped Velveteen Dream from behind, and I'm like, you jumped him before the match, you won the match, and you're jumping him again. It's like, bro, like, the build-up between you two wasn't that serious. You know, to the point where, like, you're that mad. So you got LIG that shit, bro. Which also says that maybe these two aren't finished, and they'll get another match again on regular NXT on Wednesday. The following match made me very upset. It was the Cruiserweight Championship match, no tag team match on the card tonight. My boy Isaiah Swerve Scott, Swerve's House versus Phantasma. And this match would have been the match of the night, Santos Escobar. Like, this would have been the match of the night had it not been for the outcome. There was a moment during the match where, like, one of the steel rods that holds the ropes to the pole had came loose, and it exposed, like, the steel or whatever. Both men were going at it. And Escobar's boys showed up, and you know they got met with one of the dudes from not NXT, one of the dudes from 205 Live. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. New young cat, black dude. He ran interference, which basically left it a one-on-one, because Scott's whole thing was he was saying, like, for weeks, he was like how Escobar just keeps cheating and cheating and cheating, and he never gets, like, a straight-up fair opportunity. And, you know, so after like, the run-ins and everything was over with, you know, Escobar was in the ring. Swerve went back into the ring. He jumped over he leaped over the top rope, did a rolling move, and I guess he was going for a rolling DDT. Escobar kicked the living shit out of him. Like, I felt that. Like when he hit him and you heard that, like, I felt that in my chest. And then, you know, but Swerve kicked out, and then he was later able to, you know, he hit his side kick, you know, his side kick to the head, the last call or something, I believe that they call it. He hit him with a 450 splash, and then Escobar kicked out of that. So now I'm just like, what the hell? Like, you know, like, what's going on? But then the two of them, there was a moment where both of them were on the apron, and when they were on the apron, Escobar had pushed, you know, Scott back, and then Swerve Scott fell over, and he hit his head conveniently on the exposed steel, you know, rod that was exposed earlier. And then, you know, Escobar got him in the ring and pinned him. And honestly, the match was great, and that just sucked all the air out of it for me. Because first of all, Swerve Scott should have won. He should have been crowned Cruiserweight Champion tonight. The man has had 4 or 5 different shots at the title, and yes, he kept getting cheated every single time, but now they're going to kind of say, like, he got a one-on-one match and he didn't get it done. And the thing about it is, at this point, what does Scott do now? Because you done fought 15 million times. You done fought the dude like 50 million times. You know, honestly, Isaiah Swerve Scott shouldn't even be in the Cruiserweight division. Like, he should be fighting for North American, or he should be fighting for NXT Heavyweight Championship Gold. Because even with him and Escobar, this was a Cruiserweight Championship match, but neither guy looks like a Cruiserweight. Neither guy really, you know, like, this was more of a wrestling match than a Cruiserweight match. You have to take Swerve Scott out of the Cruiserweight picture now. Like, you didn't embarrass the boy enough, and he ain't getting the job done. So unless he fights him this Wednesday on NXT in a one last ditch attempt, and, you know, he beats him on NXT, like I said, I just don't see the point in, like, allowing this to continue. But yeah, no, I mean, it was still a good match. It was, like I said, the outcome was disappointing for me, but it was still a good match. So, and I'll be fine with it. I'll let it go as long as they take Swerve out of the Cruiserweight division now and they move him up so he can go after bigger and better things. Next up, we had the NXT Women's Championship match. The beautiful, talented Alicia Tyler did the announcement, as she always does. And they did it old school, like Michael Buffer style, where they lowered the microphone for her so she could talk into the mic and announce both the challenger and the champion, which was cool. So, so let's get into it. So, I mean, it's funny how, like, we come full circle in this whole situation, because, you know, about a year ago, Io Shirai and Candice LeRae were still feuding with each other, but it was opposites, where, like, Io was the heel and Candice was the face. That's when Io did the whole thing of, like, oh, I don't need anyone's help to win championships, and then she turned on Candice. They ended up beefing all throughout War Games and the entire thing. And it's like, now, I don't even remember, first of all, I don't remember how their feud ended, if it even did end. And I don't remember I don't remember when Io actually made the face turn. It was just like she was just a face one day, and we had to accept it. So anyway, so the girls are having the match. Good match as always. From Io Shirai. Candice is solid usually, and there's a lot of shenanigans involved. Like the referee got knocked out twice, and when the referee got knocked out, Johnny showed up. He showed up with a referee shirt on. He tried to count 1, 2, 3 for his wife. It didn't work. Io kicked out of everything in the kitchen sink. She kicked out of all the cheating. She kicked out of all the moves. She got hit in the face with the belt. She kicked out of that. After getting hit with the belt. So this match basically proved to me that Candice LeRae just isn't strong enough to beat Io Shirai because Candice hit this chick with everything, including the kitchen sink, and Io kicked out of everything. So naturally, in the end, Io comes off the top rope. With the moonsault and, the genius of this guy. She pins Candice 1, 2, 3, and the Garganos have nothing. They have no gold. Io Shirai is still your NXT Women's Champion. And the aftermath of that was we got a video, like a video popped up, and we find out that it is well, I don't want to say returning, but Toni Storm. Toni Storm from NXT UK competed in the Mae Young Classic. She popped up on the screen and said that she's now officially on NXT television and not NXT UK, which is kind of cool because at least now the girls on NXT UK, like it's wide open, like you can make a brand new star, and it's not going to be like this obvious thing all the time where Tony's going to get all the opportunities, and plus she got embarrassed by Kaylee Ray in her last match anyway. So Toni Storm, she's officially on NXT now, which is very cool. And then after that, because they were teasing, for weeks that a person that hasn't been on NXT in a couple of years, 3 years, whatever, is making their return. And I knew it was Ember Moon, and I knew it. I knew it was going to be Ember Moon, and I swear I wish I would have tweeted this, or I would have put this on video, or I would have made some sort of prediction beforehand. I knew it was going to be Ember Moon. And it is Ember Moon. She got a mohawk now, which is cool. And I'm happy for Ember Moon being in NXT because, she's probably done with the main roster after the way they treated her when she was on the main roster. But also, when she was in NXT and she was NXT Women's Champion, she didn't get a proper run with the title. Like, they put her in a feud where she never beat Asuka. And then Asuka ended up retiring, getting called up. The belt was vacant. She won the belt in a fatal 4-way. She beat Shayna Baszler one time on a roll-up pin when Shayna had her in the chokehold, and then she just flipped out, and there's like pinned her shoulders down. And then she lost to Shayna in the very next pay-per-view, and then she was gone, and we never saw her again. So, Ember didn't get like a legit run with the title, and they need more girls with name recognition now because everyone's getting called up. Like Bianca's gone, Mia Yim is gone, so like a lot of the girls like Rhea Ripley, Dakota Kai, they're pretty much the only two left. Tegan Nox is injured, so they need some more women to beef up that that division for a little bit more from a name recognition standpoint. So happy to see Toni Storm there, happy to see Ember Moon there, and I definitely look forward to seeing what happens, maybe triple threat with all three of these women on Wednesdays at NXT. And finally, the final match of the night, it was Kyle O'Reilly versus Finn Balor for the NXT UK Championship. I don't know why I'm talking like that. And this was a very brutal match. Mouths were bleeding, knees were broken. Both of these men will definitely be walking while limping themselves to the locker room, and they'll be feeling like neither one of them are going to wrestle on Wednesday after this match. The match wasn't it was very brutal, but honestly, out of all the matches tonight, this was the weakest match on the card. I thought, like I said, my personal opinion, but I said it was still a good match. It just wasn't better than the other four. The Swerve match was the best match on the show so far. And then in the end, after extensive knee damage, Finn Balor hits the coup de grace on Kyle O'Reilly, gets the 1-2-3 pin, and no surprise to anybody, Finn Balor still remains your NXT Heavyweight Champion. No titles changed hands tonight, and we didn't get a tag team title match, which was interesting because usually whenever they have multiple, like at least 4 title matches on an NXT show, at least one belt changes hands, and I thought it was kind of, they went for the decision to have no belts change hands, which isn't a bad thing. So then when the match was over, they did the Code of Honor. Finn Balor, he helped Kyle O'Reilly up. He shook his hand, raised his hand, to say like good match, whatever. And then Rich Holland came and took a lifeless corpse, Adam Cole corpse, and dumped it onto the floor, which is gonna set up obviously Kyle O'Reilly now trying to get revenge for Adam Cole, and the rest of the Undisputed Era came out like Fish and Strong came out, and I was like, first of all, where were y'all when he was getting his ass beat? And then, and then they were just like, oh, did you see something? And then it's like, it was so funny because like Finn Balor was like sitting on the floor, sitting on the mat with his belt around his waist. He's like, I ain't see nothing. I'm like, of course you ain't see nothing. You was wrestling. And I'm like, for them to even ask him that was kind of stupid. So let me find out that later on we find out that Finn Balor actually had everything to do with it. But he was just very nonchalant about it, which I thought was pretty funny. So then like they were asking if he get some help for Adam Cole because he was laid out. Rich Holland helped, and I will assume that now we're getting Kyle O'Reilly and Rich Holland in a feud starting next week. So that was it. That was the pay-per-view for NXT TakeOver 31. Good show overall. Like I would give. I mean, despite the fact that no titles changed hands, and I'm mad at the swerve outcome, I'd still give the pay-per-view like an 8. It was a solid 8. The next pay-per-view is actually going to be Halloween Havoc, bringing back the classics. So we'll see how that unfolds, which means Shotzi Blackheart's probably going to wrestle Jesus. But that's a good takeover. Good takeover 31. I like the new arena, the Capitol Arena, and I like the fact that they dress even if NXT does take place in the same building, they at least dress it up to make it look like it's different and make it look like it's special. I have no problem with that. So we'll see what happens for Takeover 32 at Halloween Havoc. Thank you for tuning in. Check me out on social media, leave a comment, like and or subscribe, hit the notification bell so you'll get the notifications when my videos go live. We got Swamp Thing coming up that we're going to review, and we're damn sure going to review NXT TakeOver Halloween Havoc, and then we'll keep going and going and going. So until next time, everybody, take care, and for the icon for NXT TakeOver 31, I'm out this bitch.